But the problem and what set people off yesterday was Deshaun was out there favoriting and liking this post. And when you favorite and you like the post, typically it means that you're endorsing that post. I don't blame Deshaun. Listen, Deshaun's got to live with Deshaun, okay? If Deshaun wants to tell himself that the previous 3 years were not his fault and he takes no accountability, no responsibility for it, and it is all on the shoulders of Kevin Stefanski, we all say crazy things to live with ourselves, okay?
Buckle up, folks, because what I'm about to break down to you goes way beyond just another game recap. We're not talking about statistics or playoff implications here. This is about deception, ego wars, organizational dysfunction, and one single social media interaction that just ripped the curtain back on everything happening inside the Cleveland Browns facility. We're talking about a conspiracy that's been unfolding right in front of our eyes, and it took just one tap on a phone screen, one digital like from a $230 million quarterback to confirm what everyone has been screaming about for months. Deshaun Watson, sitting on injured reserve while recovering from a torn Achilles, just became the most shocking truth teller in NFL history, who just called out his own head coach, Kevin Stefanski. And in that one moment, he validated what millions of Browns fans and league analysts have been shouting. Kevin Stefanski is systematically destroying quarterback careers in Cleveland. And his newest target? The most electrifying young talent in football, Shedeur Sanders. The Browns just destroyed Miami 31-6. On paper, it looks dominant. The defense suffocated Tua, the stadium was electric, and fans walked out thinking their team had figured something out. But I'm here to tell you right now, that victory is a smokescreen. That win is a magic trick designed to distract you from what's really going down. Because while everyone was celebrating, the real story was happening in the shadows on social media platforms. And it involves the most expensive, most silenced quarterback in the league. Watson's been a ghost since tearing his Achilles. A $230 million phantom barely mentioned in press conferences, essentially erased from the narrative. But while Cleveland picked up that big win against Miami, something far more explosive was happening simultaneously. Deshaun Watson just exposed Kevin Stefanski, and he did it in the most undeniable way possible. He liked a TikTok video. Now, I know some of you were thinking, a TikTok like? That's the scandal? Yes, absolutely yes. Because in today's NFL, where every player's social media gets monitored, a like isn't just a like, it's a declaration. It's taking a position. And when that like comes from a quarterback getting paid more guaranteed money than anyone in NFL history, when it endorses a fan video that explicitly calls out his head coach for being a career-destroying fraud, that like becomes a nuclear weapon. Let me paint the picture. This was supposed to be the game. Everyone had it marked on their calendars with one burning question. Would we finally see Shedeur Sanders take the field? The setup was perfect. Dillon Gabriel had been struggling, mediocre at best. Word on the street suggested he was on the shortest leash imaginable. One bad half, one interception, and he was done. The crowd was ready. Even Bucky Sanders flew to Cleveland for the game. Why else would he make that trip to cold, miserable Cleveland? This was supposed to be historic. But Stefanski had other plans. The so-called offensive genius pulled off the most blatant act of sabotage I've ever witnessed. He strangled his own offense. He designed a game plan so conservative, so terrified of putting his quarterback in any situation where he might actually have to throw downfield that it bordered on comedy. The Browns ran the ball, then ran it again. When forced to pass, they threw checkdowns that went nowhere. Then more running. Dillon Gabriel, the starting quarterback in a game his team won by 25 points, completed 13 of 18 passes for 116 yards. Read that again, 116 yards in an entire four-quarter NFL game in 2025 with modern passing rules. In a game they dominated, Gabriel only threw 18 times total and didn't throw a single touchdown. For context, Tua, playing for the losing team that got demolished, threw 23 times. The losing quarterback had more attempts than the winning quarterback. That's not strategy. That's surrender. That's cowardice. That's a head coach so terrified of his quarterback making a mistake that he'd rather win ugly than actually open up the offense. Gabriel hasn't turned the ball over yet. You know why? Because Stefanski has bubble wrapped him. He's designed an offense so risk-averse that it's impossible for Gabriel to make mistakes because he's never put in positions requiring real decisions. Why would Stefanski do this? Because he's terrified of what comes next. He knows the second Gabriel throws that first interception, the stadium will erupt. Fans will chant for Shedeur. The media will ask why the more talented quarterback is rotting on the bench. So instead of letting his offense breathe, Stefanski has chosen to protect his own ego by essentially removing the quarterback position from the equation. He'd rather win 13-10 with 100 yards passing than win 42-35 with 350 yards from Shedeur Sanders. A Browns fan named Chad posted a TikTok on October 9th, basically a rant about Stefanski's system. Chad makes a point that's been echoing for years. Every quarterback who plays for Stefanski looks terrible, then leaves Cleveland and suddenly plays well elsewhere. He mentions Baker Mayfield, who struggled under Stefanski, got run out of town, then went to Tampa where he's played career-best football. He mentions Joe Flacco, who immediately looked better after leaving. The pattern is undeniable. Quarterback after quarterback enters the Stefanski system looking promising and leaves looking broken, only to resurrect elsewhere. Chad poses a genuine question. Are we sure Deshaun Watson is even bad? Every quarterback Stefanski has had looks terrible. Then they go to different teams and are awesome.
And then the bombshell dropped. Deshaun Watson favorited the video. He didn't accidentally tap the screen. He saw a fan video explicitly calling out his head coach, saying Stefanski ruins careers, suggesting Watson's struggles aren't entirely his fault. And Watson hit favorite. He digitally co-signed it. He sent a message to anyone paying attention. This fan is speaking truth. Let's be crystal clear. This isn't some random backup liking a fan post. This is the franchise quarterback, the player the Browns mortgaged their future to acquire, publicly signaling he agrees with fan criticism of his own head coach. That's unprecedented. That's explosive. That's the kind of thing that tears locker rooms apart and gets people fired. Some might say Watson was just defending himself. And sure, that's part of it. But here's where this connects to the bigger story. Shedeur Sanders. Watson isn't in some remote location. He's in that building. He's in those meetings. He's on that sideline. He sees the most electrifying college quarterback in recent memory being forced to hold a clipboard and watch a quarterback throw for 116 yards in a blowout. He sees a head coach actively designing his offense to avoid playing his most talented player. Watson sees Stefanski running that same career-killing system that made Baker look ordinary, that made Flacco look washed, that's made Watson himself look like a shadow of his Pro Bowl form. And now he's watching it happen to another victim, Shedeur Sanders, being buried on the depth chart not because of talent, but because of coaching ego. Watson couldn't stay silent anymore. He couldn't watch another career get destroyed. But he couldn't say it directly either. So he found a fan brave enough to say what everyone was thinking and gave him the ultimate cosign. He sent up the signal flare. This is real. Someone on the inside agrees. There are theories, and all paint Stefanski poorly. Theory 1. He knows he's getting fired, so he's going down with his guys rather than the player management forced on him. It's ego-driven self-destruction. Theory 2. Stefanski doesn't like Shedeur, doesn't like the hype, the attention, having Deion's son with the media circus. His ego is so fragile, he'd rather lose his way than win with a player representing everything he's uncomfortable with. Regardless, the result is the same. Shedeur is being systematically prevented from showing what he can do. And thanks to Watson's digital breadcrumb, we have confirmation from inside that this isn't speculation, this is real. Watson's light came right after the Miami game, right after Stefanski ran that ultra-conservative plan, right after Gabriel threw for 116 yards, right after Bucky flew to Cleveland expecting to see his brother play, only to watch him stand on the sideline. Watson saw the obvious sabotage in real time and decided that was the moment to send his message. The mainstream media will try burying the story. They'll say it was accidental, that we're reading too much into social media. Don't believe it. Professional athletes, especially ones with Watson's experience and scrutiny, are extraordinarily careful about social media. When Watson hit favorite, he knew exactly what he was doing and what message he was sending. The Browns have become where promising quarterbacks go to die. Baker came as the #1 pick, full of swagger, left looking broken. Watson, a 3-time Pro Bowler, looks like a shell of himself. Flacco couldn't sustain success. The pattern is undeniable, and now Shedeur risks becoming the latest casualty. What's frustrating is we've seen Shedeur play. At Colorado, under the brightest spotlight, throwing for over 3,000 yards with impressive ball security, handling pressure, making every throw. We saw franchise quarterback qualities. Now he's told to sit behind a quarterback who can't break 120 yards in a blowout. Yesterday's game was perfect for getting a backup experience. The Browns dominated, defense played lights out, built a comfortable lead. Normally, you'd give your young quarterback reps in low-pressure situations, but Stefanski refused. Gabriel played all 4 quarters, threw for 18 passes total, and Shedeur never got close to the field. That's not accident or game flow, that's deliberate exclusion. A coach stating, "I don't care how talented you are, what fans want, or what makes sense. You're not playing for me." It's coaching malpractice wrapped in ego. The Browns face a critical decision. Continue pretending everything is fine, let Shedeur's rookie season get wasted holding a clipboard, or acknowledge what's painfully obvious. Stefanski's system doesn't develop quarterbacks. He's sabotaging their most promising talent, and changes are needed before permanent damage is done. The saddest part? Shedeur's done everything right. Stayed quiet publicly, worked hard, been a great teammate. His reward has been watching a dysfunctional offense while knowing he could do better. What happens when Watson returns? Does he play for a coach he's publicly suggested sabotages quarterbacks? Watson's recovery timeline and potential coaching changes could intersect in fascinating ways. This story is far from over. That one TikTok like from Deshaun Watson might be the spark that burns down the entire Stefanski era in Cleveland.